not taking care of that part of society. And that's why I highlighted that sustainability. And somewhere we are kind of too much on the ground, which is going through very difficult time. Recently, without naming the brand, we read one of the largest e-commerce organization had very difficult working conditions in their warehouse, right? And they acknowledged just because they are so this is becoming
Yeah,
a
so
complete
I think
failure.
the challenge for leadership is to be able to transcend that distance and to see and control and influence what's happening at the last mile, right? And that while technology is making communication and connectivity very easy, it's not helping in this. So there is a different competence that the leadership need to develop to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, one more aspect of this, in the last two industrial revolutions, last one particularly, technology moved from being a support function to being determinant and driver of strategy. Do you believe that in the fourth industrial revolution, skill and the depth of skill and the understanding of skill and application of skills by the leadership is going to become the driver of strategy?
I would not make as emphatic a statement. I mean,
I'm not being emphatic, I'm just speculating.
yeah, there is a very significant trend globally, which is called skill-based organizations. There's now a very strong line of management thinking, which is around saying that when I think organization, we should not be thinking structures, we should not be thinking conventional view of departments, grades, roles, etc. We need to think about organizations as skills. And moment we start doing that, skill-based organization, we need to start thinking of how we're constructing the organization from a roles perspective, coming based on the cluster of skills that exist. I think the entire mindset changes. How you look at how you hire people, how you develop people. It's a very different paradigm. But is it driving and or is it core lever to the next revolution? I'd say it's significant, but it's not as.
So, Dhruv, I strongly believe that technology is here to serve us for sure. So it can never overtake in terms of overpowering the kind of decision making that we need to have. Technology today is helping us to be much more prudent and move away from gut based decision making which was happening. Having said that, we as leaders need much better cognitive skills to use technology to enable us better rather than getting blindly driven, which I mentioned earlier also. So we are much more enabled and powered with the help of technology. But I am going to use technology. Technology will never use me, and that's the kind of clear mandate.
No,
we need to
what
create.
I meant was that having the kind of technology that you have, your grasp of technology, your grasp of understanding what technology can enable you to do, etc., can, in fact, had started driving how business models were built, how strategies were formulated. I'm saying that that is done and dusted. We are now fully au fait, as it were, with technology. What is going to happen in future is an organization's depth of skill, the breadth of skill, and the leadership's understanding of what it can deliver is going to start driving business strategy, is going to start driving business models.
Absolutely.
That is the question.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, so I agree with what you're saying. I think in the past it was how did I have this technology in my company, or did I have this kind of machine system in my company which was going to differentiate me between me and my competitor. Today it's not just skill sets, but the quality of skill sets the unique skill sets which exist in my company versus my competitors, that is going to make a differentiator because I think technology is going to become democratic and it's very readily available. And pretty much people are using it. It is how you're using it, it is the decision making, it is I'm not letting technology control me, but me telling technology what to do. That is going to be the differentiator in the coming few years.
Great, thank you very much. Do we have time for questions? Maybe we can take one or two questions. If there is any curiosity on the subject. Yeah, please.
I'm Rubius Kera, I'm part of Possible Business School. It's been faculty. It was such a lovely discussion, deliberations, and whatnot. One question I had, you're talking so much on AI is actually important. Even I went through, I'm Cozy Code for my AML course, being the other side of the age. But the minute I was about to finish it, ChatGPT was launched. Very right, I find my course also got outdated. Because it was so theoretical. When I learned from ChatGPT, I said I wasted my money. But gave me that certification of I am Cozy Code or whatever. That was besides the point. I just want to ask, because leaders are there and students are there, everybody would like to know. Domain knowledge will not finish, your domain knowledge will always remain relevant. AI is kind of a tool. It is an extension of
Absolutely.
I think domain knowledge will never go outdated. That is your views on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. So as I mentioned, the life of every skill is now short-lived, but basics will always be there. So I think AI will sit on top of on those basic skill sets that we have.
We all feel
So let's not undermine, that AI आ गया तो अभी बस it's a Ramban and it's going to take care of everything for us. No, I think so that's where I mentioned that we need to drive technology and better skill set we have around us will help us in deciding, how to use AI, ML, ChatGPT, 4GPT, 5GPT, and many more GPTs are going to come. But I think those basics will always be there, which will help you to decide which way to go and which skill set or which tool to use of technology.
And then the leaders, when you're taking interview, let's say young student between 20 to 25 or whatever, you will only look at AI skills or look for their personality,
No,
honesty,
no,
and
no.
integrity is important. What kind of mix you will
So I think there are multiple things besides academic, the potential and the capabilities and experience, dusted now. So we don't look at somebody coming with this experience and 8 years of experience and 10 years of experience. Sorry, we don't look at that. We simply try to evaluate what kind of potential, what kind of strength the person brings on table and how malleable the person is, how fast he can change and adapt to whatever is happening around us. So that's something very, very critical for us to get anybody on board.
Thank you so much. Sir, what I want to say that AI when gives us a solution, we should not just accept it. We should challenge our brains that this solution and I can have a better solution than AI. Say on a digital scale, if I say AI has given me say 90% efficient solution, then 10% gap is there where I have to find out a better solution than AI. Because AI is provided by somebody, some intelligent person. So I want to say that I should get a better solution than AI. I want to give you one example. I was traveling in an Uber taxi. Driver was so smart, he mentioned that, look, sir, this is telling that you will reach within next 40 minutes at the place where you want to go. I use this GPS system provided by Uber, but I use my brain also over and above this solution, and it will give you, it will reach you. It will you will reach the location maybe 10 minutes earlier, 5 minutes earlier, because I'm using my brain to some extent. It is giving me solution. Maybe AI or GPS is the best solution for that. I know something else also. I go ahead. I see the tool ahead of the GPS and I make changes and I reduce the time. I found that 5-7 minutes or less in 40 minutes. So AI has given a solution.
Absolutely, which is why we're here discussing about reskilling and upskilling, right? So this would require some new skill, it would require some skills to be upgraded, some unnecessary skills to be dropped. Absolutely right. AI is not going to be the end of our intelligence.
Yeah. Okay, now, in a lighter mood, I want to say that AI reduces my time of doing some research or getting a solution. Now I have more time for my laundry work, kitchen work. I want something from AI who can give me help on kitchen and laundry.
Till the time AI is moving you to your hobbies, it's fine, but it should not break you down your skill sets of laundry and cooking.
But thank you very much.
It's a very good hobby to have. Cooking is a very good hobby to have.
Thank you, Dinesh, Anurag, Purva. Thank you for listening to us.
Very rich insight that you brought to this is a wide span to cover this evening on upskilling and reskilling future of work. Sitting here, I could just see over the horizon a very amazing, brave new world emerging and the exciting time that the next generation is going to have. And implicit in that, though not articulated, was what my generation had missed, but we'll catch up. I would like Shrishti, Zed, Ria, Brent, Momentum to our guest, the token of our appreciation. And may I request our chairman, Mr. Kala and Ms. Neetu, to please join us on the stage for a group photograph.
Thank you.
in the digital age, which I'm sure will be as exciting, as insightful as our previous section. I'd like to just give a brief introduction about our participants. The first panelist is a graduate of GE Human Resource Leadership Program with a career spanning 25 years in companies like Sony Pictures, Network, Coca-Cola, Express, GE. She is advisor to CAI, IMA, Society for Human Resource Management, and Frontier Group of Companies. They say, please extend a warm welcome to Ms. Manu Wadhwa. Our second participant is a graduate of Delhi University and TIS with 30 years experience in MNCs like SEAL, DuPont, GE, Ranbaxy, HSBC, and has worked in Japan, Korea, Middle East, Singapore, currently with the TCM Group. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Sandeep Gigotra. Our next speaker is a graduate of XLRI with almost 20 years experience in the areas of talent acquisition, total rewards, H2R, and was instrumental in looking after the welfare employees in the families during COVID. An old hand with Nestle's, he is managing diversity, inclusion, and leading the transformation of the organization. Please extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Anurag Patnaik. We now have a participant from University of Allahabad with an MBA in HR from IMT Ghaziabad and quite unexpected, with a background of 6 years in armed forces. He has played a pivotal role in Asian Paints, Oberoi Hotels, PepsiCo, and is presently the CHRO of MakeMyTrip.com and spearheads Make My Trip Foundation, the social arm of Make. Our last panelist is an alumnus of RI with over 40 years experience in diverse industries like manufacturing, services, telecom, IT, and was the CHRO of Deloitte, a very well-known and a very respected voice in the HR profession, has been recognized as one of the top influencers in the HR field by 24 by Economic Times. Let's all welcome Mr. Nathan. May I now request Dushi and the team to welcome our guests by presenting them with a bouquet. God. Okay, with that, I hand over the floor to Mr. Nathan.
Thank you so much. It feels really good to be sitting here amongst people that I know very well. So that's a greater comfort that we have a lot of people in the audience that I know reasonably well. So thank you for being here. Sunil, I must thank you especially because you made me a moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, Sunil is a very, very wise man, and I'll tell you why. A person who puts a thought in your head, a person who puts a thought into your head is a teacher. A person who takes money from your pocket and puts it in their pocket is a businessman or a business person. Is my wife. She can put a thought into my head and take money from my pocket. A person who can do neither, which is either put a thought into your head or take money from you, is a moderator. So I'm adequately qualified. So Sunil, that's why you're a wise man. So very happy to be here. It's a Friday. Friday is a fantastic day. I'll tell you what. is a day. Wednesday, day of regrets. Thursday is anticipation day because Friday is a fun day. So thank you so much for not keeping this on a Monday and keeping it in any organization are engaged. And by the way, Gallup did a study of this over the last 50 years. It has not inched up one wee bit. It's all hovering around the 13, 15. That's how it has been for the last 50 years. 90% of people in organizations are unhappy. And if you don't believe yourself, ask yourself, am I really very happy working in my organization? If the answer is yes, you belong to that 10%. Last but not the least is 72% of people are disengaged in organizations. So these are terrible statistics. But we're very fortunate that we have in this group fantastic CHROs from different industries, very diverse industries. And what we are about to do is give you some idea about employee experience and strategies in the digital world. Employee experience plays a vital role in shaping organizational success. Employee satisfaction encompasses every interaction an employee has with the organization, from recruitment to departure, heavily influenced by digital tools and performance. And I could add another 4 paragraphs because this is what ChatGPT gave to me. So I'm not going to read any of this. Instead, I'll give you an example. When somebody joins an organization, I'll wait for the gentleman to finish. Thank you, sir. When people join organizations, there's a lot of anticipation. Somebody's coming over, lot of anticipation. And there is a red carpet when the person comes on board. Everything is very nice. Digital to the core because you have emails, you have all kinds of things, there are videos, and everything is fine. But when they finally enter an organization, many organizations, I'm not talking about the few which are out here in this panel, they're given bunches of papers to fill and sign. So the digital experience is, and these are the digital natives who are used to not even taking their wallets around the place. And by the way, many of us have stopped taking wallets. I mean, all they do is you just have a phone and you're fine. So that is the experience that people are experiencing outside. But when they come into organizations, it's a completely different world. So, even as we get into the subject to hand, I want to give you some very useless information as well, because it's important to get some useless information. For instance, the first useless information that I'm going to give to you is women blink twice as much as men. Now, don't look at your neighbors. Right? So this is one. So if this is such a vital information, let's get on to Yuvraj and ask this question. Given the dynamic nature of the tourism and travel industry that you have, employee experience strategies to frontline staff must be very, very different, Yuvraj. So how do you manage your customer interactions on one side and you have operational demands on the other? How do you put all this together for your employees?
So thanks, Nathan. I thought you will ask me the reasons why women blink twice more than men. It's good that at least the question is around this. The other part is that, I think Nathan has already spoken what ChatGPT gave to him. But the problem is whatever ChatGPT gave to you, I also have the same thing. So now how do I really manage to really beat the ChatGPT which can give similar answers to me? But anyway, on the serious note, I think when it comes to employee experience, in my experience around this, Nathan, what I've seen is that a lot of times experiences become very transactional.
Yes.
In the organizations, I think it doesn't serve the purpose what it is expected to serve. And why I say this is that when we get somebody onboarded into the organization and see that a person till the time it's there in the organization experience needs to be at a different stages in different manners so that there's a delight and also engagement and also a great sort of a satisfaction with the organization for a person. What happens, it remains very, very transactional. And my learning and my experience had been that employee experience or an experience per se, there are two or three very important elements of it. First is, I think experiences are not only in the moment, there has to be a continuity of experience. If you build a, you know, if you build a complete garland of nuggets, if you remove one or two, I think the whole effect of the experience goes away. So how is an organization, in every process you have experience which is showing continuity. And second is, I think that when people come and join the organization, work for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that's a direct experience what people get. But the fact is, it's important to see that students who are in the colleges, people who have not yet joined your organization, and when people have left your organization, can there be a process wherein the experience can really weave everything together and create an experience which is not only directly for the people who are working in the organization, but people who are also coming in touch with the organization. So that resonance or the ripple effect of the experience, what you create by creating such experiences which are before the birth in the organization till you separate from the organization, if you can create an experience like this, I think that has a higher impact in terms of a strategic way of employee engagement and experience. That's second thing. Third, I think when we look at also experience for the people who are in the organizations, in the corporate offices, and there are certain people working in the field, I think a lot of times we get into this conundrum and dichotomy that are people in the corporate world or the corporate offices far more privileged than the people who are in the field. And most of the time is wasted in figuring out how can you really provide a similar experience outside. I always felt that, it's a question of a role. I served in Indian Army, and I couldn't have really asked while being in a woody sector that, hey, guys who are sitting in the North Block wearing uniform every day morning and I'm wearing my camouflage uniform, can I really compare my experience with them? I think it's important for a person to ensure that wherever a person is, whether it's a field job or a corporate job, the type of experience in that context which can be given should be something fair, transparent, and also enjoyable. Because it's not that everybody wants to be in AC. People also want to really be struggling and figuring out what needs to be done and learn from this. I think this whole dilemma of creating seamless experience for everyone, trying to look at everybody from the same lens, creates a lot of issues here. And the fourth point here is somewhere in the organizations, we have been trying to brush everybody's experience from the one stroke. Everyone with a different generation, with a different background, has a very different sort of an expectation. Can there be a process of looking at creating experiences of people which caters for their need, calibrates to their thought process, and somewhere creates drive for them? And organizations or the HR team or the leadership team, the moment they try to create something which is uniform for everyone, rather than creating anything, they spoil a lot of things within the organization. That's what I'm saying.
Fantastic, fantastic. I quite like this point about mass customization of personal experiences. Fantastic. So this is a question for you, Manu. And before I come to that, some useless information, yes? Okay. No word in English rhymes with the word mouth. No word in English rhymes with this word called mouth. And I'm sure that all of you must be wondering what is this and start to, before you get there, I'm going to ask this question. Manu, how has the integration of digital platforms and technologies impacted employee engagement and satisfactions in the media industry?
I'm thinking of what rhymes with mouth.
There you go.
Oral cavity. Oral cavity.
See where the mind goes.
See, there's some pearls of wisdom out here being doled out, and you're all on this mouth. And anyway, back to you.
On the subject of engagement or experience, and if I take media industry, we are in the business of creating experience, emotion in everybody's everyday life. How many of you watch some kind of content every day in some shape and form? Some people have not raised their hand. I'm surprised. But the ones who do, well, today even Android's 10,000 rupee ones get you the same engagement value. Having said that, in the spare today, when we are seeing content being produced by all of us, we're the users and we're generating that content. And at the same time, some of the larger media houses like Sony that I represent today are creating content which is higher budget, creating superlative value on cinematic experience or of what you watch on any version of your phone. The entire array of engagement and experience ties in today for us as to what our consumers look like. And therefore, for us, for our workforce, whether it is gig or full time, that experience is very akin to what they're seeing on the consumer's life cycle. Something which the gentleman just said in a lighter note that people with iPhone only could afford a good content. The reality today is that any kind of smartphone gets you the same superlative content value. And that's the experience which a consumer today has. Whether it is somebody who is supporting you in your housework, to whether it is somebody who is doing an executive job in an office, or somebody who is representing government in any shape and form, or even the frontline armed forces. That consumer experience is the driving factor for us as to what we do inside the company. And I'll tell you why. This is a learning which many, many years ago, in one of the almas of mine, I got to understand. Companies with superior customer experience always have a differential business outcome. And therefore, the value that one gets generated in the form of what you provide to your employees will have a superlative impact on your customer has always proven true. Coming back to how do we do it in the current spectrum? Not just the standard formats which whether you're a student or an HR professional or a faculty, you would see that a large part of our life cycle from hire to retire is automated in majority of the companies. I don't think many of us will contradict or will have a different point of view to say that that's the space of automation that's largely taken space. The experience differential comes in the form of get to press the pause button in less than a millisecond. Do I get to see my content in less than a minute's time of search? Minute is too long, actually, I must say. And so on and so forth. In the organization, do I get access to the information that I need about my work, about my belonging to the organization with as much speed? Do I get it on the phone? Do I get it on the laptop? And more importantly, am I feeling connected with what I'm doing? Technology today helps us build that connectivity. We have chatbots. We are developing in-house data lakes to create our own versions of artificial intelligence, which is going to reach out to employees. We have two-way communication in the form of continuous development that happens, and so on and so forth. But the X factor in all of this is technology is able to experience it at the end of the day, the touch, connect which the leader generates with the employee. And that experience is something which is most important for us, just like the way we look at our content, that it has to touch your heart, it has to touch your nerve in some shape and form. The same way for us, an employee's experience has to have that emotive touch of having that discretionary connect with the organization.
Very well, sir. I quite like the fact that you're saying the experience cannot be any different for a person working inside an organization, particularly for a media house. Fantastic. I also like the point that you made about getting the gig workers. How are they any different? Great. Thank you. So even as I move to you, Anurag, the most common adjective in the English lexicon is good. Is good. So that's the most common one. So this is a good question. So you work in a
from the good food, good life topics.
oh good. Say that a little louder. I can't hear it.
So Nestle is known as the good food, good life company. So we just got the right
Absolutely. Good life, good food, good life. I told you, man. It's the most common adjective. Nestle uses it, fantastic. In a fast-paced industry, continuous feedback is crucial. Your company gathers a lot of information from people who use your products. How do you do that for your employees? Getting feedback from them that improves the overall experience for an employee.
First of all, just a few points before I come to your question. One, thank you to the Futsima team, and it's a pleasure and privilege to be part of such a esteemed panel of fellow professionals and people in the audience. So thank you. Secondly, Dinesh is not in the room, but I just wanted to connect one comment which you mentioned about the FMCG business. That today, when we launch a product, typically you get the information the next day. How many products have you sold in your next customer, and in a couple of days, how many consumers are buying it from which part of the geography and what pin code. So, just wanted to clarify that if somebody remembered the comment. But anyways, coming to Nestle and how do we look at employee listening. So just to give you some context, in an organization where almost 80 to 90% of our workforce in terms of demographics is based in our manufacturing locations or is out in the field. We try and sometimes tend to stay away from sometimes having the fantasy of focusing a lot on the workforce which is based out of our head offices, right? So that's one thing which we try and keep a focus on when we're looking at the overall context of employee experience. For us, and I think Yuvraj mentioned this, the starting point of employee experience for us is the culture of our organization, the purpose which is being driven at different locations by different kilometers across the value chain. The second element is the workplace, the physical workplace. So you have different manufacturing locations spread across the country. You have offices and plants spread across the regions. So the kind of physical infrastructure our employees feel and experience every day, I think that's a very important element. And then like the transactions or the emotions you go through every day when you walk into an office, have a conversation with your manager, have a conversation with your peer, what is that moment of truth which you experience? I think those are the basic levers. And today, the data which you get from your employees, there's immense data. So just to give you some examples, and uh, today, as an organization, we use Microsoft Teams, right? Like a lot of our peers. And you can today qualify how much time every employee, and we are 12,000 people spread across, how much time are they spending on what kind of application, at what point of time, how many different elements are they multitasking on. So there is one extreme of information which you are getting through the tools and technology which are available in the organization. But at the same time, there is a very, very conscious attempt from the leadership to try and find out different elements of employee feedback. So, now like every other organization, you do surveys 5 years or few years back, it used to happen once a year or twice a year. And now probably there is a pulse survey which happens throughout the month. There are emotional feedback taken from employees at different points of time during the day. There are event-based surveys which are happening. So there is a lot of useful information which is there and the technology enables. But there is also a very important element of face-to-face interaction and the feedback which you get when you walk into a factory, when you meet your sales team spread across the geographies. So there's this huge breadth of information, both in terms of the quantity and quality. And then it's up to the leaders and to the teams to react to how we use that data. And there is one risk, which I see a lot, because there is so much frequency of this data being collected. There is also a greater ask from the function, from the leadership to react to that information much more quickly than what used to happen in the past. But definitely a very important element of how we listen to employees, how we react to what their needs are, and try and react to it as quickly as possible.
Do you also let them know that this was your feedback and you worked on their feedback? Do you do
And the constant loop of communication which you do is very good. So you take their feedback, you go back to them in terms of the communication, what you're able to do, what you're able to change, and there are a lot of things which you don't want to change because they don't. But the overall approach in terms of transparency, I think, is extremely where all the stakeholders in the organization are equally aware of what is being happening across the region.
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you very much. We'll come to you, Sandeep, but before we go there, useless information. Have 6 legs, but can't. They can only fly. On that note, Sandeep, how is manufacturing organization leveraging technology and automation to enhance EX on the factory floor? Shop.
You mean EX means employee experience?
Yes.
Okay. I thought maybe it's another name of Dragonfly.
The name of that dragonfly, right? Oh, yeah.
The one which can't fly.
Which
Which can't walk.
No dragonfly can walk.
I don't know what.
No,
Not even EX.
not even.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Not even my ex.
No, it's okay. Not. Mine could. And before I could propose to you. All right. Okay. So I think manufacturing. You see, manufacturing is a very different world, but I'm sure we all have. Nestle is a manufacturing company, while they're selling. So do we. Let me tell you. Let me give you an example, and I love to take that example. How many of you have traveled from Delhi to? Youngsters probably have come into workforce only after Nitin Gadkari started building good roads. But before that, for those people who lived in the previous regime, and I'm, by the way, not promoting anybody here, no political party. But yes, I am. Traveled from Delhi to, let's say, Mussoorie. You have, many of you would have. So when you go from Delhi to Mussoorie, the roads were obviously very bad. And then you would cross through Meerut, Muzaffarnagar, there's a place called Khatoli in between, and those places have a lot of sugar factories. So you have, in Meerut, you have a sugar factory, then you have Darala, and then you have Khatoli, and then you have many of those. So good old days, about 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago and all that, there used to be trucks on the roads carrying cane. And they would jam the entire road with traffic. So let's say if you're traveling between October to March, which is the peak season, is invariably you're going to get stuck on that highway for a few hours, if not days, because there were trucks and then there were bullock carts and there were all kinds of things. Now you don't see that. One, obviously, the reason is that you got a better highway and Nitin Gadkari. But the other piece which has happened is that technology has taken over even to the rural most part of India, which we have not been able to understand, and we never anticipated that's going to happen. And the example goes further is that now somebody who cuts the crop, sugarcane, does not have to load it on a truck and bring it to the doorstep of the factory and then wait and then get the money. It all happens on the phone. So while we think that we educated, tech savvy with iPhones, and she was in rural India, by the way, they use the internet more than the urban share. So the ticket is generated by a cane manager. It goes to the person who cuts the tree, the cane, and it is all happening digitally. And the wait time from harvesting to cut to to take out extract the juice. Earlier it used to be about 3 days. Now it is just about 6 to 8 hours. And what has happened because of that? One, your transportation cost has gone down. Secondly, the loss of yield. So sugar is about 10% and rest is all water in the sugar cane. That 10% has become, let's say, 12%. So suddenly there's a 20% increase in yield because you're able to move your stuff much faster than what it used to be. Now, what does that mean? Technology obviously has helped the business, but people who started using the technology are those people who are sitting in the rural India and are also the prospective employees for us because we hire from that community. They come and work for us. So their expectation of earlier, the expectation of love and feel and hug and cry of employee experience has gone away. They are now looking at their instant gratification or whatever happening through phone. And that is how life is changing. For those people who are, I'm father of a youngster who's 19 years old. For those who have, and many of youngsters sitting here, for those who have kids, would be able to relate with me, try doing this hug and kiss and puchu to your youngsters. They'll kick you out of the room. They don't like it. They don't like it because, that's not normal now. Whereas it used to be
That's
when we were growing up.
Normal in the house.
Normal in the house. Yeah. And I'm not going to get to the non-binary they, them, and all that issue at all.
Of course.
So that's your customer, that's your employee, that's the society. It's changing, and you jolly well change along with it.
Absolutely. Very well said. I quite like the example that you gave. Sorry, thank you. I'm just going to, I just looked at the time out here. So I'm going to get into some rapid fire. So if you can just hold your mics and keep your answers really, really short. So we will start you off. What's your pithy one-liner on employee experience as it should be?
I'd say customer engagement is equals to employee experience.
Correct?
Respectful.
Respectful? Pithy one-liner. That's one word here. Good. You, Raj.
Sandeep?
I think one liner from my side is going to be what's in it for me.
What's in it for me? Absolutely. Great.
I'm not here for all my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not here all my life. Next question is, one practice that would create wonders all around for employee experience? Any practice?
Listening.
This fantastic.
Treat them as adults.
Treating people as adults. Okay. Employees.
I would also say continuous listening and feedback to the employees.
And
That's
feedback to
very
employees. Lovely.
Don't interfere.
Don't interfere. Lovely. What advice you'd love to give to your managers about employee experience?
Don't interfere. Too old.
Okay.
Give them good experience.
Good experience. Right.
And let them be provided in the space. And like Sandeep said, please don't interfere.
Don't interfere. Provide space.
Treat them as equals. Stop the parent-child style. It's gone by. Many of us believe, and I'm sorry, I'm elongating the response, but I strongly feel about this, that in the organizations, we still are hung up to this version of parent-child. I tell you, do, I know more. You don't know more, and we don't know more. I think the people who work around us know much more. So please treat everyone around as equals. Everybody's bringing their skill. The hierarchy in the organization is only for different reasons, I would say. Maybe the skill value.
Nice. I see a lot of students out here. So this question is again to the panel out here. One advice to all aspiring student managers is growth. One advice from you as leaders, as wonderful CHROs of your organizations?
Don't grip. And I'm sorry, am I sounding like I'm telling my son here?
Yeah.
Looks like it. I mean, वो सुनता नहीं है, अब आप तो सुनोगे यहाँ पे बैठ के, मना नहीं कर सकते ना. So don't grip and no bloody entitlement mentality. You know, earn it.
Don't grip, earn it. Lovely.
Just a small secret, I reported it to him for quite some time of my career. So you know where the grooming is coming. But I would additionally pass on, forget about any skill which can be picked up on the internet. Groom yourself and hone yourself for problem solving and curiosity. The more you're able to solve problems, the more you're curious to solve problems, you would be far more relevant for today and for future.
Absolutely. Great.
Real life experience when you're studying, because you're studying, you have access to a lot of books, a lot of knowledge, a lot of brilliant professors, but at the same time, try and see how that sort of works in the real world before you get into a job.
Lovely.
I'll say, choose your friends in the corporate world very carefully.
Very good.
There are guys who are cynical out there, and they are the biggest magnet for anybody who is in the system. They attract a lot of attention, and they sound very charismatic, and they are also very charming. But they are the ones who will spoil you. So choose your friends very carefully, but ensure that you have best friends at the workplace. That will help you.
Well said. Very well. Very well. Okay, again, this is again one of those very rapid rounds. I am again very conscious about time. Quickly, if there is one thing that you would like to steal, what would you steal? Wait, guys, wait.
Time.
Time.
It has to be professional.
Anything. It can be anything. And professional, not professional.
Katrina Kaif.
Katrina Kaif, okay. Well, against my principle to steal. Very well. Very well. You stop with that, okay.
Steal good health.
Steal good health. Excellent. Good health. Steal good health. Okay. If there's one object that's your symbol, I mean, it symbolizes. What's that one object? What's an object that symbolizes? This is a symbol.
Small town.
Small
Town. Small town.
town. I heard that as thumb.
Small town.
Small town. Okay.
Smaller city.
Small city. Okay. What's the one object, not a city, but anyways, we'll pass that.
Map where you can find out.
Map.
East UP, small city.
Okay. What's the one object that represents it?
A bird in a nest which wants to fly out.
A bird in a nest. Okay.
So
A nest.
That's also the Nestle logo.
Oh, this is a massive selling out here, guys. He refused to take a chocolate, which was the Bonvita chocolate that you saw out there. Huh? Oh, because it's not Nestle. Yeah. Because that's not good. Manu? Yeah, it doesn't steal.
Anurag, I'll use that as like a bird in a nest. Did you say like trying to fly out? Maybe Mr. Naran needs to be But
Yes, hello?
I'd say a canvas.
Sorry?
A canvas.
A canvas. Oh, lovely. Canvas.
Seriously, God. It's becoming too intellectual for me.
No, it's not intellectual at all. If Katrina Kaif could come by,
I wish you could. I mean, I'm very disciplined, so maybe watch.
watch.
Yeah.
Lovely. Watch. Okay. One wish for your younger self. When you were younger, I wish I had done this. One wish.
Never be afraid of speaking your mind.
Lovely.
I wish I had left an employment and I would have just started something which I was very passionate about.
Good. Excellent.
I had a very fortunate life, but yes, I wish I would have listened to my parents and my well wishes more. So please do that.
Oh, the good boy there. Yeah, you're a very nice guy. Akshay.
चल क्या रहा है यहाँ पर?
Okay.
I think to younger self, I should have told that instead of gathering degrees in education, you should have been more focused on awareness.
On awareness. Building awareness. Great. Lovely. Last question from me. Again, I'm looking at watch. One regret in your life other than having me as your moderator. Oh, your regret was Yuvraj, was it? Yeah, okay.
I think actually no regrets, but I think I could have dabbled into a career which was my passion rather than coming to the profession which perhaps got imposed on me.
Very similar there.
I'd say the only regret is just leaving the important things of life to later in time. Whether it is time with family, to time for self, to the bucket list of adventures.
Lovely. Living a life of postponement. Wonderful. Done?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, listen. You know? But I can answer this.
Moderator, before that you were a consultant. We need to check, are you getting paid for this?
The answer is clear now. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I honestly, I don't have any regrets. Look, it's small regrets we will all have in our lives, ups and downs. But believe me, I think we are sitting here in an air-conditioned room, and we have food to eat. There is no reason for us to have any regret, boss. There is no reason for us.
Okay, if I were to answer all these questions, the last one, regret in my life. The regret in my life is, I wish I had pursued my passion, which was engineering. I wish I had pursued that passion. Ultimately, I ended up as a HR professional, but it's not too bad either. What would you steal? I'd love to steal affection. I'd love to steal affection. What object represents you? Water. Water. One wish that you have for yourself, one regret in your life. That is the only regret. And one wish for my younger self is I just wish I had said things that I held to myself. I just wish. Today I'm able to speak out loud. But then I was a very shy boy and I kept things to myself. I just wish for my younger self to express myself better. Today, a lot of young people do that so well. You guys do it so well. That's my regret. And on that note, I see that we would have time for just 2 questions. 2 very short questions. This is only to the panel, not to the model. Go ahead.
He hasn't got paid for it.
There you go, guys. Yeah. These kinds of questions, when they're asked, and people sitting in the audience start to think about the questions themselves. So you're all quite lost in those questions, I'm sure. Any question for the audience? Yes, ma'am?
Do you guys have any other criteria to give a proper candidate or say employee experience to Gen Z? Maybe because they are gonna be the future, say a decade later.
Any different kind of experience you'd like to give to Gen Zs? Is it the same standard experience or is it going to be differentiated experience?
Just asking out of curiosity.
No, no, absolutely not. I mean, see, what has worked for us is not going to work for you guys. And what's worked for you is not going to work for another person 10 years down the line. Just an example I always keep giving is that the music industry has changed so much in the last 70, 80 years, from vinyl for 40 years to cassettes to CDs to Bluetooth or whatever, whatever. And the duration of that has also got smaller, So vinyls live for 40 years and so on and so forth. So I think it's going to be foolish on our part to believe that you would be satisfied with the same experience. And for that also, one other thing that I keep telling is that I think probably it's time for people like us as HR managers to retire and give way to the others, because we can't think anything beyond. Hopefully the younger people would be able to think better for you guys.
So, Sandeep, one of the things, I totally resonate with what he said. One of the things that we did in my previous employment, which was Deloitte, was we said if we are going to be a bunch of people in the management team and trying to get things as experiences for others, it would be so silly because 96% of the people that work for us are on Zenalians. How do you manage that? So what we did was we actually got a millennial to be on the board. We did that. We called the chief experience officer. And that person, the only condition was that person must be a young person who can represent the large numbers of people in the organization. And by the way, a lot of our policies got changed. Lots of things happened because we just had that person in the room saying things that nobody else wanted to say, and they had to kind of. Okay, one last question. Going once. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, I'm feeling very honored to be part of this evening and interacting with all of you and knowing so much in detail about all of you. My question is, what is the mantra for your life that has kept you going and you have been here today in front of all of us? So that one mantra that you followed since your childhood, in your teenage or young age.
Excellent question. What's your secret mantra? Yuvraj?
I think it's a good question. For me, I think the day you start thinking yourself bigger than the organization which you are part of, you never progress. So I've always felt that, what I extract from my organization, I should be indebted for it. And the day I start thinking that I have given a lot to the organization and the organization should give me XYZ, your downfall starts. So your humility, your ability to continue to think that the organization is bigger than you and whatever you're adding is still lesser, has made me at least happy with whichever conditions I have been. Second is, thing which Ami taught me was that, I think that how quickly you align with the vision or the goal of the organization or the team which you are part of, your life becomes easier in terms of delivery. Like in army, people say that you get into a uniform, nobody tells you what is your goal, what is your KRA, what is your objective, what are you trying to achieve, because uniform means saving the country, right? If you get that mindset, I think it always helps you to be humble, at the same time also aligned to the vision, and that keeps you very, very happy. And I think I have somewhere tried to follow that all through my career.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Yuvraj. Anna? Yes.
So I was saying it is a good and definitely a very difficult question to answer, but just a couple of things. One, what I would advise you at this stage, is be with people who are better than you, people who are smarter than you, who always get an opportunity to learn and be a better version of yourself. and try and be with an organization, with an institute where your personal values sort of reflect in the workplace or in an institute or in a different or a few things which I would like to do.
What's your name?
My name is Disha.
Disha. Disha. Direction. Very nice name. How many of you seen 12th fail? बहुतों ने देखी है, चाहे फोन है चाहे नहीं है, but I hope you've seen it. And if you've not seen it, my personal recommendation, please go and see it. And from that, the one learning which I at least imbibed, and maybe that's the DNA I was born with, is be a hustler. Don't give up. Just don't give up easily. Be a hustler. Continue to attempt. Continue to roll up your sleeve when you need to. Continue to be the most poised person in a room where you have to. But be a hustler. Don't give up. And that will take you far ahead where you want to be. And it will also help you be in the direction that you want to be.
Wonderful.
I think 2-3 things. Number one, I personally, I don't live in the past, nor do I cry over past. Neither I cry over the past, nor do I live in the past glory. Every day you got to earn your stripes for the next day. So never ever think that past is going to give you anything. So you should not think too much about it. That's one. Secondly is tenacity and change, like what she talked about. This is my first Indian company to work for. I've always worked earlier for multinational companies. So I was very, very scared as to how it's going to work out for me. So have a little bit of a fear before you do anything. That will help you prepare better for the future. And the third one, actually I forgot. The third one, yeah. The third one is, somebody mentioned, be around with good people. You're only as good as your team. Build good team. I'm so proud that I've worked with so many people in my journey in HR, and many have reached CHRO's position. You have one person sitting here, and many of them that I can count on. The numbers are huge. So be around with good people, hire good people, and then you can relax and enjoy your life.
Disha, I'll add one. My personal credo is water cuts rock. Never give up. Pretty much like many of us said this, never give up. Never ever give up. Be optimistic. Third one is be cheerful. Even if the big ball comes and smashes you where it hurts, it's okay. Move on. All the very best. Thank you. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you very much. You're very good.
Thank you all for covering a very wide span of activities for employee experience and engagement. Especially the last part, which was in a very lighter way and had lots of humor. But if you were really listening and if you watched the recording, had very serious overtones and a lot of learning, a lot of personal insights. And you all, we can always share the recording with you. Once again, may I invite our Sutton team, Shrishti, Rishi, Vidushi is there to present our guests with us. With the token of our appreciation, there will be a group photograph with our chairman, Mr. Sumani, Mr. Kala, and you. And after that, there will be a address by our chairman. And then, of course, dinner.
You should be here. You should be in the center.
Now our concluding address by our chairman.
Nervous and nervousness. These were the two thoughts and words which came to my mind when we embarked upon this HR roundtable. Actually, so this was our first and maiden HR roundtable. As chairman, I was really worried. And there were a lot of challenges of getting together, the right kind of panel, the right topics, and last but not the least, the right audience to be able to understand and appreciate what is happening, the deliberations on the stage. And I knew that well, it was very important to get the panel, the correct panel. And I'm really grateful to all the panelists over here for having agreed to my request for being here today. Because the fact is that we were not sure of our own capability in organizing this HR roundtable. And when we were not sure, for all of you and this elite panel to have imposed their trust and confidence in us, I am extremely grateful and thankful to each one of you for having come here at our request and shared with us your experiences with such insightful discussion. Before the start of the panel, I was listening to an informal chat with the panelists, and like one of them said, even for us, it's going to be a learning experience because we learn from each other. And sitting over there in the audience, I felt that I learned a lot today. And thank you very much. Thank you very much to moderators for actually for eliciting such a great discussion from the panelists. And thank you very much to all the guests. I must also thank the CRC Department of First Timer Business School for working so hard, so tirelessly to make this conference a big success. I mean, this morning, adding to all the challenges or the morning rain which actually happened in Delhi, and I was worried that how will the panelists come here, how will the guests and audience come here, and we were in half a mind actually to postpone it and have it on another next week or something like that. But then, and kudos to Neetu, please give her a big hand. She said, "Sir, aap chinta na karo." मैं कहा, "ठीक है फिर." So without chinta, we have had this hall full. Thank you very much, all of you. I hope we'll have, so this is the beginning and we're going to have more conference, more such conclaves, roundtables, maybe 2 in a year, maybe 3 in a year. Thank you very, very much.
चेंज करना हो गया वॉइस खोलना
stay back for cocktails and dinner. Can't live without that.
बड़ा ना बड़ा बड़ा
Prostema is an institution that I have seen
करना है खत्म
candidly from a fair distance. But today is an institution that I have experienced along with many of you. And I must commend Suwani ji for the journey that he has. So I'd like to commend you today, Suwani ji, in terms of the enterprise that you've created.
Prostema is the brainchild of the alumni of the Indian Institute of Management. Vision objective, giving. The faculty team at Prostema is largely drawn from the alumni of the Indian Institute of Management. They bring their rich and huge corporate experience to the Prostema classroom, their teaching methodology and the pedagogy is very similar to that at the Indian Institute of Management on the There are students who are bright and brilliant, but on the fateful day of CAT examination, for one reason or the other, have not been able to score well. Prostema provides an opportunity to such students, grooms them to their peak potential, puts them on a pedestal, and offers them to the corporate world.